do I do all day? As a casting director, I do many things all day, but to put it very succinctly, I read scripts, I talk to directors, I talk to producers, and I see actors, and I hire actors. Among those things, there is a huge process that takes place, and sometimes for a feature film, it can take place over 12 weeks or more, and sometimes for a television show or a commercial, it takes place over a day or two. So the entire process consists of me being hired as a casting director, which means I either am interviewed by the producer and director, both for my financial responsibility of hiring actors within budget, as well as being on the same page creatively as a director, and my ability to get in a director's head to understand what their vision is and then supply ideas of who could really execute these characters to serve the story. And many casting directors usually are interviewed for a feature film, and it's that meeting with the director about the creative vision and us coming onto the same page and figuring out how we each think and work and all of that then serves equivalent. That's my audition, really, as a casting director, and then I find out afterwards if I'm hired. And then once I'm hired, I will start executing those ideas that I've already discussed with the director. Obviously, I've read the script previous to actually interviewing, and then I think of actors for roles. Now, at least as a casting director, when I read a script in the first place, if actors are popping into my brain as I read a script, that's a good sign. That means I'm creatively invested in this project. If actors aren't popping into my brain, that's something that possibly another casting director can serve the story better than I can, because I'm just not resonating with the creative content. And but when I do have actors popping in my brain, that's when I start thinking of people. So I start making lists, and to accompany those first ideas that I have, I will go back, I will look over all of my previous auditions, people who auditioned for maybe commercials or a television show. Let's just say I'm casting a film. I look at all of those lists and everyone that I know, and try to really figure out who best matches what part, the size of the role, and the character. All obviously becomes a very nuanced craft, and then I also rely very much on agents and managers, and I speak with agents and managers. They call, or I call them. Now that everything is so electronic, I rely a lot on electronic databases, not only my own electronic files, which is equivalent to my own filing cabinet, which hopefully many actors are in. Actually, many actors are in there, and I sweep through those. I also still have some headshots, real live physical headshots that I look through, and then there are many services. One in particular that I work with, I happen to work with right now, is Breakdown Services, and I go through every agent and manager submission, and sometimes I also release it on Actors Access, and I go through all those direct submissions as well. And then from this hurricane or tornado of photos and resumes and people, that's when we narrow it down and decide who to audition. And sometimes we just go straight into tapings. Usually we go straight into tapings. Sometimes people come straight in for the director, but there's a whole kind of filtration system of when people first come in. If I don't know an actor already, I'm really excited to get to know them, and then they may go to the next step to go to the director. Then there's a director-producer session, and from that director-producer session, sometimes I hear, that's not going to work. These live auditions, those aren't going to work. So then I go back to the drawing board, and I go through my whole process again of looking at submissions and understanding, that character is nuanced in this way that I hadn't thought of, and whatnot. But most of the time, knock on wood, that director-producer session goes very well, and we have decisions made, and I help make those decisions and inform people, as well as availabilities come into a big play. Someone, let's say, has a play, say has a theater role, and they have to be released early. Well, that goes into the decision-making process, certainly, because sometimes films shoot at very odd, long hours, most of the time, actually. And then I hire the actor, so then there's a process of me actually making an offer, and hopefully the actor accepts the offer or the agent accepts, but there might be discussions about trailers or credit, etc. So there is a lot of that, and then it's executing paperwork and doing all of the internal paperwork for production, as well as all of the union, if it's a union project, all of the union Station 12s and whatnot, which is checking union status. And then there's the schedule, so I look at the day-to-days and I figure out when the actor's working, and that's what we hire them for, but I also kind of keep an eye on that schedule if it changes at all, depending on how involved I am with the project after I make the hires. And that's really what it is, and then, you know, there's a cast list, and there's finally a cast. So all day long, all those steps seem like they're fairly a logical line, and one domino leads to the next domino, but what really happens is one domino leads to the next, and then you have to go backwards, and then there's another path of dominoes, and there's another path of dominoes, so it becomes kind of a matrix, and you're constantly going back to square one until you have the full cast and repeating a portion of that process again and again and again, and that's what makes it fun. So that's what I do all day. So I'm on my feet, I'm in audition rooms, I travel a lot. I always want to find actors who are, I call them actors that are hiding under rocks, people who are in shows. I go to theater, I go to comedy clubs, and my staff, everyone in our office does the same, and we're always looking for that next person that we haven't seen. Because what's fun for me as an artist, as a casting director and creative person, is to find someone that no one else has seen on X show before or whatnot. I really like finding fresh faces and new talent and whatnot. And I didn't even get into the offer only situation, but those are lists, and that's a whole nother part of casting. Thank you.